Welcome to Meeple Mythos. I'm Nick, and today we're going to be exploring the legend of the One Ring in Matt Leacock's Lord of the Rings: Fate of the Fellowship, a pandemic-style game. Today I'm going to teach you how to play the game as well as doing a full solo playthrough. So if you like what you see, please leave a like and subscribe so I can keep making more content just like this one. Enjoy! Alright, welcome to Lord of the Rings: Fate of the Fellowship, a pandemic game. Today, we're going to do a how to play of the game, followed by a full playthrough solo of this game. I tried to fit as much as I could on the screen. When I tried to zoom out, things got really grainy. So I'm just going to do what I've been doing and put cards like so up into the screen so you can see them because that seems to work pretty good. Also, everything's sleeved, so there is going to be some glare. So we have the game fully set up. So we have the Nazgul out. We have our characters. Today we're playing, of course, we're playing Frodo and Sam because you have to play Frodo and Sam no matter how many players you play with. Then we're going to be playing with Legolas, and I'll go through his specific abilities once I've taught the game. Faramir, and Legolas is starting way up here, and Faramir is starting here. Then we're playing as Gollum. That'll be an interesting one. And then finally, Eowyn. So this is a totally random setup, meaning that all of the objectives that we're playing as today, as well as the characters, are all randomized. So if you haven't seen a video of this particular game yet where someone's played anything other than the introductory, this is it. So we're also playing on standard difficulty, meaning when I set up the player card deck, I made 5 different stacks and added a Skies Darkened card, or an Epidemic card, if you will, to those 5 stacks. Let me go ahead and start explaining the game. The goal of the game is to destroy the One Ring, of course, because it's Fate of the Fellowship. We have to do that. I'm going to bring this closer. We can only do that if all of our other objectives are completed. And then once we do that, we must spend 5 rings in order to do that. And we have to be in Mount Doom, meaning physically Frodo needs to be in Mount Doom. So pretty straightforward. The problem is we have 3 more objectives we need to do. So these are them. I'll go through them more in depth once we actually start to play. But again, the only one that happens, and this was totally random, this one is one that you would normally start with because it has the little black star there. But otherwise, random. On your turn, whether this is solo or not, you will be doing, if I can see up here, 4 actions plus 1 other action. So the way that this game normally works is you would have 2 characters and you would take 4 actions with one of your characters and then 1 action with the other character. In solo mode, you're going to have a token and they're going to move down the line. So this is starting on Legolas, and then the next character on my next turn will be Faramir, and then Gollum, and then Eowyn, and then back to Legolas. But in the solo mode, your 1 action always goes to Frodo and Sam. So for example, I will take my first turn, 4 actions with Legolas, and then I will take my singular action with Frodo and Sam. All right, so that's going to be how that works. What kind of actions can you do? Well, the types of actions you can do are muster. And I'm going to use this example right up here where you can kind of see Legolas. Anywhere on the board that shows a symbol or a alliance marker or faction, you can muster at those places. The ring around it, is what's called a haven. So sometimes people will think that you can't muster in certain places that don't have a haven, like down here. You can still muster in those places. Haven is kind of just do something different. In order to do that, I have to go ahead and spend a friendship token. So this is where the game is different than some of the other pandemic games. You're going to get a hand of cards. You always get a hand of cards in pandemic. But at times, what you can actually do is you can do what's called, what do they call it? Preparing, where you essentially get rid of this card, and then you take one of these tokens corresponding to that. And so what happens is it actually frees up your hand and allows you to keep these tokens. And these tokens can be spent just like cards as well. So in this example, I don't have any friendship tokens or friendship cards. So this is a friendship token. So I want to try to get this somehow. And then that way, when I'm here with one of my actions, I can spend this token and then I can muster. And what happens with muster is you gain one of the corresponding colored little meeple warriors. And that's it. That's really all it is. So here are the spaces where we can recruit elves or green. There are some dwarven spaces too. So here and here are spaces that we can muster up some dwarven troops, which are the gray ones, or here. We can do the Rohan. So these are the spaces all over here. So basically all of Rohan has spaces where you can muster. And then finally you have Gondor. So you're going to have the spaces. There's quite a lot of them here, like Minas Tirith, even Dol Amroth down here. So you can do any of them. You're going to want to do this quite a bit because if you notice, there are these red meeples, and these red meeples are shadow troops. And the shadow troops are going to come and ruin your day. So I'll explain how we can get rid of those and what they do exactly in a little bit. But they are pretty bad news if you let them get close to havens. They can cause some issues. The next thing that you can actually do is travel. So travel is probably the most common action where we're going to be moving around. Now, when you look at this board, there have been critiques about the board as far as how busy it looks. And when I first heard about the game, I thought the same thing. In fact, I was not going to buy this game because I didn't like the idea of controlling more than one character at a time, and two, it did seem really busy. I have played this game a lot at this point, and I can tell you right now, it's actually pretty good. But basically, anytime you want to travel, you can travel along any line. So you'll notice that some of these spaces show multicolored lines and they're going in one direction. Like, so for instance, this teal and orange line are moving from Southern Mirkwood into the Old Forest Road, or even this one's moving into there. That part doesn't matter. That only matters for when troops move, which I haven't quite got to yet. But I can move Legolas here for one action. That's a move. I can move them along this white line over here. I can move Eowyn around here or whichever way. You as long as you're following a line, it doesn't have to be specifically in the direction of that line. When you're traveling, you're allowed to take any number of troops with you and or people. So, for instance, if Faramir was also over here and Legolas's turn was up next, well, Legolas can actually travel not only with this elf, but also with Faramir to the Old Forest Road, and then maybe for another action moves down here, and then for another action moves to Dol Guldur. So that's traveling. Now, there's something that we need to know about traveling, and that has to do with Frodo and Sam. Frodo and Sam have a really hard time traveling, and this is why in this game it's not as simple as getting the hobbits to Mount Doom just by moving them. What's going to happen is every time you move Frodo and Sam, you must spend a stealth token or a stealth card. If you do not, you must roll a search. And those search are these dice here, these black dice. And so what's going to happen is you're going to count up the number of Nazgul that are in that region, plus any shadow troops that happen to be in the destination where they are. So for this example, there's only 2 Nazgul in the region. So I'm only going to roll 2 dice. And there's this really cool dice tower here that comes with the game, retail version. I mean, come on, how much cooler can you get? And you're going to roll it. And I'm going to, you'll hear that sound. I can't put it on camera, but I'll put the dice here to show you guys what the results are. And so there's a few different sides. One, nothing happens. Yay. The next thing is the Nazgul one of them, or each for each of these rolls, literally goes all the way back to Mordor, which is really good, right? You kind of want that, unless it's the end of the game. And I'll explain what happens at the end of the game if you have too many Nazgul in Mordor. You have to be very careful about that. The next thing, and this is the one that you really don't want, this is losing hope. Now, over here off to the side is your hope track. This is one of the many ways to lose. If this track ever gets to 0, you lose. So we don't want that to go down. So this is one reason why you don't want searches, because that dice roll, and there's, I think, technically there's 3 sides that have that. So there's that, wherever it is, this, and then this one. Now, what this means, and this happens on the attack dice that I'll show you in a little bit as well, but on this particular die, what that's saying is you'll lose a hope unless where your destination was a haven. So kind of going back to what havens are, if I happen to roll and move instead from the Shire to the Grey Havens, then I would still roll for a search unless I spent a stealth token. And then I would roll those dice. And if I happen to get something like this as a die roll, then what I would move is I would move 1 Nazgul back to Mordor. And then I would have lost a hope, but I'm in a haven, so I actually don't. So it would have been a pretty good roll. So that's traveling. And so when you travel with another character, or I should say, when Frodo and Sam travel with another character, you still have to spend that, right? So if Legolas is over here and wants to move with Frodo and Sam, even though it's Legolas's one of his 4 actions, Frodo and Sam is moving, so you have to spend that stealth token. The next thing you can do is Fellowship, and this is, I'm just going to explain for the multiplayer game. This doesn't matter for the solo game, because in the solo game, you just have 1 hand of cards, which is here, and that's it. And in the Fellowship action, if your characters are in the same location as another character, so if you have them here, so let's say this was player 1 and this was a character of player 2, then you can give or take 1 card to or from that player, but it has to match that region. So if you notice, these cards have region names, so like Mirkwood. So for instance, if Faramir belonged to one player and Legolas belonged to another player, on Faramir's turn or Legolas's turn, they can do a Fellowship, and this card can be given or taken to whichever way it's going. And so that's Fellowship. We don't have to worry about that one in this particular gameplay, because again, we have 1 hand of cards. The next action is Prepare. Prepare is going to be very important for us because it allows us to get us, again, these tokens. And without those tokens, it's going to be very hard, because again, we have to spend 5 rings. And our hand limit is always 7 cards at a time. So that means 5 of our 7 cards would need to be rings, and that doesn't leave you room to do much else. So when you prepare, and this is a very solo specific rule for it, you basically, at a haven, can prepare a card. So, for instance, if it's Legolas's turn in the Woodland Realm, I could prepare this card. And by preparing, I put it in the discard pile, and then I take 1 of these tokens. Now, in solo, the card must match the region. So Mirkwood, that works. But in the regular game, I could have prepared Rohan, or this ring. In a non-solo game, the card does not need to match a region. So I've played this game a lot cooperatively with people, and I always not skip that rule, but I always forget that rule, in the sense that I keep thinking, oh, but I have to be there. That's not the case. So keep that in mind. It's the one rule of this game that sometimes it surpasses me at times. Okay, now let's talk about attacking and capturing. When you move people, or whenever you go into a space and you have people in there, you are allowed to make an attack. So right now, let's say I had gone from here to here as 1 action. Well, as another action, I can choose to attack here. So that's going to be rolling these white opaque dice, and I'll go over which dice options are on there in just a second. But you can only roll up to the number of allied meeples there, not including yourself. So you don't count here. So at most, I can only roll 1 right now since I only have that 1 green elf there. And so I would roll 1. And what can you get from there? Well, if it shows this symbol, you're in luck because you just destroyed one of their people. If you roll this, you destroy one of their people and one of your people. Again, we go back to that. And then this one is you lose a person unless that fight happened in a haven. And then finally, this can be arguably one of the worst ones. If there is a Nazgul in the region, then you lose 2 warriors. And that's it. I mean, that can be rough sometimes. So you got to be really careful when you're fighting in those places. And then the other thing that happens is the Eye of Sauron is going to move to whichever region that battle is going to take place in. This is going to be very important strategy-wise because, as you'll notice, there's going to be these cards that we draw, and they look like this on the other side, and they will do certain things. For instance, this one says, shift the eye to Frodo's region. If it's already there, roll a search. That can be really problematic if it's turn 1 of the game, because that means you're already rolling 2 dice and you could very much easily get 2 loss of hope. So you have to be very careful about that. So that is attacking. And then the last thing is capturing. And the way capturing works, I know I keep moving these guys back and forth. The way capturing works is if you're ever in a enemy stronghold, which looks very similar on the board to the havens, just it's red and more spiky, then if you are there and you have a allied force and there are none of these, then you can spend 3 of these tokens and or cards in any combination, and then you can take and place one of these onto there. And then you gain 2 hope. So you would move that up to 2, or you would move it up to, not to 2. And so this can be really, really useful because the eye also shifts to that region as well, right? So this is going to be something that we are going to be looking forward to because we have to do it on one of our cards, except we have to do it way out here in Mordor, in Minas Morgul. So we're going to have some issues doing it there. But that's capturing. It's pretty straightforward. So that, let me just move those meeples back so I don't forget where they were, is all the actions. So again, you're going to take 4 of those. You're either going to move around and travel. You're going to maybe prepare a card by matching that particular region while you're in a haven. You're going to potentially muster by adding more troops to that by spending friendship tokens. Or you're going to attack, which is you are in a space with enemy shadow troops as well as allied forces, and then you roll your dice. And like I said, you're only rolling up to 3 maximum. There's only 3 dice in the game anyways, so you can't roll more than that. And then the last thing you can potentially do is capture, which is where you have a person and no shadow troops, and you spend the swords. I'm going to say right now, capturing doesn't happen very often, so we won't see it happen except for the one objective that we have to do, which is down here. That's the only time we'll probably do it unless we get lucky. We'll do a lot of attacking, we'll do a lot of mustering, we'll do a lot of traveling, we'll do a lot of preparing. So other than that, that's what we do. Once you do those 4 actions, in a solo game, you will then take 1 action with Frodo and Sam. They have all the same actions that you have, which is traveling, mustering, attacking, and so on. Except, again, when they travel, they have to be a lot more cautious about it. They have some special abilities, too. Again, I'll go in depth with those specific characters once we actually start. Once you've taken your 4 actions and your 1 action, you will then draw 2 cards from that player deck. In that player deck, you'll get either events, like I happen to have one in my starting hand right away, which might be kind of nice. So this one, select any character, shift the Eye of Sauron to their region, then move any 3 Nazgul to that region. So that is an event. Or you will get a card, like so. Or you will get a Skies Darken. Looks like this. And basically what it does is it's going to increase the threat. So it's very similar to in Pandemic with the Epidemic cards. So it's the number of shadow cards you draw. You'll increase that. And you're also going to see if this eye is in Frodo's region. If it is, you lose 2 hope. So again, this can be really problematic. If you happen to draw a Sky's Darken card on turn 1 and you haven't dealt with the eye, you lose 2 hope. Then on your turn, if you happen to draw a card for the shadow cards that also has it searching, you could lose 2 more hope right away. So you got to be really careful. Then it's going to add some troops to a particular region. They're all different. And then you're going to shuffle the discard pile and place it on top of the shadow deck, just like you do in normal Pandemic. So those are the cards you'll see in there. And then again, the hand limit is 7 at all times. And then you'll draw shadow cards, and that's what these are. They have 2 different backs. They have a banner back, and they have I guess this is the banner back, and this is the marching flag. I don't know. They're both banners to me, but they do mean different things. So if you go and you flip a card over, so I'll give you this example. Let's say this is the deck of cards, and I go to draw my 2 cards, and I draw my first one. Well, what's going to happen is I'm going to look at the back of this card, and I'm going to do either the bottom part or the top part. So they are either marching or gaining forces. So in this situation, this particular card or this particular back means I'm doing this part. So here I would add 1 to Umbar, and then I would shift the eye to Frodo's region, and if it's already there, roll a search. All right. If instead you have something like this, and then you flip this card over and you look at the back, then what you're going to do is you're going to do the top portion. And in this situation, you're going to be marching troops. So you're going to go from Dol Guldur to Helm's Deep. And you're going to follow this pathway. So I'm going to try and zoom in, and you'll see the green pathway pretty well. So you'll start basically backtracking. So I'll show you here. We're going to start in Dol Guldur, and we want to go to Helm's Deep. So we're basically going to go back following the green line on this particular situation. So actually, not this way. It's this way, then this way, then this way, then this way, and then this way. And anytime you get to troops, they will advance once on that track. So if there are multiple troops along that pathway, they will all move one closer to Helm's Deep. Now, why might that be a problem? Well, just like we can attack in regions, they can also attack us. So for instance, let's say during that card, they traveled from here to here in Lorien. They will then roll, and they're going to roll, again, a maximum of 3 dice, and they will immediately roll for all dice. They don't get to choose how many dice they roll. So in this situation, they will roll 2 dice. When they roll that, they will either lose themselves or you. And if at any time they are occupying a space with a haven and there are no allied troops, it becomes a stronghold. And when that happens, you lose 3 hope. And that can be really problematic. So you can always get the haven back by doing a capture, but sometimes it's not worthwhile because you gotta do some other things, especially for us in this game. So that's what happens when you draw shadow cards. So again, you're basically flipping it over, looking at what the other card has on the back, and then doing either the top or the bottom. And then it would be the next player's turn. So in this example, I would have just done Legolas's turn, and then I would shift this green token over to Faramir, and then on the next turn, I would take a turn with Faramir. That also means you have to be kind of strategic in a solo game, because if you're doing something with Legolas, it's going to be essentially 4 turns before you come back to him. So you have to kind of plan things out a little bit as you go along. It's very cool. So how do you win exactly? Or how do you lose exactly, I should say? Well, you can lose if you ever run out of red shadow troops, right? We have 21 left in here. So if we run out because we've added too many, we just haven't destroyed any, you lose. You also lose if you get down to 0 hope. And you also lose if you run out of player cards. If you ever run out of player cards, you need to draw some, you lose as well. That's a very classic Pandemic style game. And then how do you win? Well, you only can win by destroying the one ring. Okay, so now I want to go through some more nuances of what this particular game, our game, is going to entail. So first, one thing we always have to be careful about with the final objective, the destroying the ring. So as an action, so the one action that Frodo and Sam gets during that turn needs to be this. And they spend 5 rings at Mount Doom and then survive a final search roll, adding a die for each missing hope. So again, this comes into play. So if you go into Mount Doom way down here, you're not only going to roll for any Nazgul and or Shadow Troops, but then also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you kind of want to go in there with as much hope as possible. One thing I didn't mention during the teach was that you can mitigate certain things. So if you are fighting, then you can always spend a ring to re-roll one of these, or you can spend a sword to just kill one guy in that battle. You can also spend rings to re-roll another one of these. So, or re-roll one of them that was rolled. Now, spending rings it's not, sometimes it's not the best, but that's why you actually have to be careful. And I sometimes think this is where people say they've had issues winning the game, is because if you get Frodo and Sam over here too quickly, or you haven't prepared and you haven't gotten ready to do Mount Doom yet, well, what happens is the Nazgul slowly make their way over to here, which then means not only do you have to worry about the hope, but now you have Nazgul, and that can be really problematic. So you want to be very careful and time when Frodo and Sam go into Mount Doom. What can Frodo and Sam do? Oh, let me go over the objective still. The other objective is infiltrate Minas Morgul. So very similar. Basically, we are going to just do the capture action in that space. But here we can spend 3 swords or 3 stealth, and then we get some stuff if we complete it, like gaining 2 shield token or stealth tokens, and then we can look at the top 2 shadow cards. This might be one of the later ones that we do, one of the last ones we do, since we won't go into Mordor until pretty late in the game. The next one is Legolas. That makes 6. Legolas has an ability called Sure Shot. Basically, whenever you use it to remove a Shadow Troop, you place it on there, and once there's 6 on here, you complete this objective. Not too hard. You gain a hope that way. And then the last one, which is actually going to be kind of nice for us. This will be this and infiltrate Minas Morgul will be very useful together. Basically, you need to spend an action to complete this objective when there's at least 2 brown, 2 green, and 3 blue troops in North Ithilien. And North Ithilien is going to be right up here. Once you do that, you're going to shift the eye over to there and then move every shadow troop in Mordor to Udun, which is to here. So basically, they go, they're getting ready to fight right here. So those are the objectives we have. The characters that we have are, again, Frodo and Sam. Once per turn, when they prepare, if he's in a haven with the region named on the card, you also gain a friendship token. So remember how I said in solo, the card has to match a region when you prepare? Well, that means every time you do this action with Frodo and Sam, you'll get that friendship token, which is really nice. They also have Sam's Aid. Whenever a search, let me get this to focus a little bit. Whenever a search is rolled, you may spend a heart to ignore the same number of hope loss results. And then finally, you can put on the ring before a search is rolled. You may ignore all shadow troops present. If you do, lose 1 hope and shift the eye to Frodo's region. I don't think I've ever used that particular action. Legolas has a really cool ability. Action, once per turn, gain a shield token from the supply. And then Sure Shot, anytime as not an action, and you can use it on any player's turn. Spend a stealth either to remove a shadow troop from Legolas's location or an adjacent one, or move 1 Nazgul from the region. And then once per turn, when Legolas prepares, look at the top card of the Shadow Deck. So if you notice, there's a good number of preparing abilities in this game, and so the game does want you to prepare for sure. Faramir is also going to be very nice for us. He has ambush. When Faramir does the travel action with at least one friendly troop, you may do a bonus attack action in his destination, meaning we don't have to spend that action. And if you do, you can change one of those die results for each of those shield stealth that you spend. He's also stealthy, so when Faramir does the travel action across a special path, spend one fewer symbol. If you look over here in Mordor, there's a ton of these crazy special paths. So a special path is anything that shows these. When you cross, just like you would with travel, you have to spend those tokens. So this is going to help us quite a bit. And then finally, he has another ability action once per turn. Draw a ring card if available from the discard pile if he is in a haven and in the region named on the card. So those are really great options for us. Okay, Golem. Golem is a wild card. He's crazy. He cannot muster, he cannot attack or capture, and he cannot bring friendly troops along when he travels. So he can't really do much. And when Gollum, Frodo, or friendly troops enter or are added to a location, we will lose one hope if all three are present there. So we just want to make sure that we don't have all three in any one particular spot. Gollum is also going to, if he's present when there is a rolled search, you roll 3 fewer, which can be very helpful. Slinker, action once per turn. Take any stealth card available from the player discard pile. Again, that's going to be helpful for endgame. And then finally, we have Cunning. Gollum can prepare even if not in Haven. And when he prepares, you may move one shadow troop present to an adjacent location. And then we've got Eowyn. Eowyn can muster in a Rohan location and does not need to spend hearts, friendship, which is great. And also, if she is present when a battle is rolled, you remove one Nazgul in her region from the game for each of those results rolled. You do not lose 2 friendly troops. So Eowyn is great at controlling Nazguls in the game if you can manage it. So what else do we want to keep track of? Well, we want to keep track of some of these cards that we drew when we added this. So just like in regular Pandemic, when you seed the board with different things, we seed the board with a bunch of different locations of enemies. So we added a couple. But what I really want to take a look at really is going to be where they're starting and where they're going. So what I take stock in is just how many times I see the same one. So far, these 5 cards are all different. There's a Helm's Deep, another Helm's Deep, another Airborne, another Helm's Deep. So what that's telling me is we're going to want to probably be careful about Helm's Deep. At least that's my first initial thing. Again, it is a card draw, so anything can happen. And we are going to be drawing more of these before we end up reshuffling anyways. So we just want to keep stock of that. We don't seem to really need to worry about Grey Havens, although this right here does say it's moving along the pink path. So you'll notice that's not very many steps. So we want to be careful about that if we can. And then we did notice that there were 2 Erebors. This is always a sneaky one because you don't really pay attention since it's all the way up here. The 2 that are coming from Erebor are Moria and Nir Harad. So Nir Harad's way down here at the bottom of the board, so you're not gonna be able to see that, unfortunately. And there's a lot of steps before it gets there, so I'm not worried about that one. The one I'm worried about is Moria. Moria does not have very many steps before it gets there. So those are the things that we want to keep an eye out for. At least when we start playing, when we actually are strategizing. So that's all the like minuscule, like, oh, this is what is in our game. And so now we're actually going to start. So first things first, we want to figure out what we're going to want to do. So we're starting with Legolas. We have a troop and we don't have any of those friendship tokens. So we're not going to be able to muster, at least right off the bat, we're not. So let's think about what we can do. Let's see. I think one thing we want to try to do is come down here to Dol Guldur. Or maybe Moria, because I am a little worried about that coming up. I don't think we saw any Dol Guldur here. So There is the one Dol Guldur, but it's going towards Helm's Deep, so we can kind of have Eowyn maybe shore that up. We do need to be very careful. We want to move the Eye of Sauron out from Frodo's region, because if we happen to get unlucky where it gets to roll, then that's going to be a problem. We also want to have Frodo and Sam be with Gollum for the majority of this. So what we're going to try to do is we could prepare. And so I think what we're going to do is I think we're going to go ahead and prepare this card, this Mirkwood card, because having those types of tokens are very useful. And once per turn, when Legolas prepares, I can look at the top card of the Shadow deck. So I already know this is the card that's under it, so we're going to be marching. And so what we're going to be marching is from Nirn to Erebor. Okay, so there's a lot of spaces between Nirn and Erebor, but that's a third card over to there. So, so I am starting to get a little worried about that. I also have this event where we can shift the Eye of Sauron to any region and then move 3 Nazgul to that region. So we could kind of take care of that. What I want to do, though, is as my second action, I want to gain a stealth token, I think, because I want to start gaining those, but also maybe not, because I need to move 1, 2, 3, or if I go 1, 2, then at least here I can do the sure shot. Oh, it's not an action. Okay, and I can spend that. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Second action will be to gain a stealth token from the supply. And then we can go for the last 2 actions. 1, maybe I'll leave them there just because of Moria. So 1, 2, and then sure shot. You can also do it to adjacent locations. So we're going to do that. And then that's going to go onto the objective card. And then I think I am going to play this card. I'm going to select any character and shift the eye to that region, then move any 3 Nazgul to that region. So what we're going to do is shift the eye to... Let's do Faramir's because it's furthest away for the time being. And then we're going to shift this one, and this one, those 3, to that region. And so that card has been played. Now I get to take my 1 action. And so this is why I did that, because one of the things I could do is kind of hop around here and grab some of these, because I do need to grab some of those elves. But I'm actually thinking I could start heading up this way and back down towards this region. Some of these Nazgul are going to take a little bit longer to reach up there now. So we're going to just move 1. And I would have to spend a stealth token. And since I don't have a stealth, well, I have a stealth token and a card, but I'm not going to spend it. So I have to roll a search. But there are no Nazgul and there are no Shadow Troops. So we don't need to roll, which is great. So that's it. Now we move on to drawing 2 cards. Let's see what we get. The first card is a Rohan card. Okay, not bad. And then there's a friendship card. This can be good because Frodo and Sam are moving towards this region and they can prepare, and that'll help them do some extra stuff. And then we're going to draw a shadow card. So we already knew the first one is going to be a troop march from Nirn to Erebor. So I'll show you again how that works. We go Erebor along the blue or teal line. So we go here, 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 here. So, okay, see, this is why I was a little worried about that. And then we go back, and we keep going, and we keep going, and we keep going, and we keep going, and that's it. So quite a lot of movement on that particular front. So a little scary there. We still have another one. And the second one is going to be another movement from near Harad, but to Helm's Deep. So, okay, that's 1 step closer to Grey Havens if it happens to reshuffle. So we're going to go Helm's Deep along purple. So that's purple, 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 and this comes right up. So you can't see it. It's kind of off camera, but it's like the next space down here that moved up. And that's the turn. We're going to move, and we're going to do Faramir's turn. So again, he has the ambush action, which is when he travels with people, he can do that extra attack. He also can spend one fewer symbol when he travels. And that's about it. So I have 2 Rohan cards, and I have Harad Waith. So we could do that. Well, let's go ahead and do this now for their extra bonus action, because they don't have to roll a search again. We're going to spend this, and we're going to have him muster a blue worker, so that's a blue troop, so that's 1 action. Then I'm going to leave them there for the time being, and I'm actually going to spend 2, 3 actions to head up here, and then I'm going to prepare, and I'm going to prepare this card because it's in Rohan, and I need the card to be in the discard pile eventually for his ability. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4 to prepare, and that's his turn. And then we already took the extra turn with Frodo and Sam. So first card, okay, another one of these. This will be helpful again once Frodo and Sam gets there, and then Mordor. Okay, we're actually getting quite a lot of these. So maybe we end up doing Minas Morgul faster than we think. Okay, we have to now do the first one. So we're marching. We're marching from Dunlin to Helm's Deep following Orange. So that's up here. So we're going to go Helm's Deep, and it's going to go here, here, here. All right. So Helm's Deep is going to be a problem. I'm kind of glad I got these guys here a little bit. Okay. Second card will be a bottom action, and it's going to be a addition of a Shadow Troop to Umbar way down at the bottom. And then deploy 3 Nazgul from Mordor to the Eye. If when Mordor is empty, deploy 1 from the largest group, and if the Eye is in Mordor, recall 3. So we're basically taking these 3, boom, 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 and clearing out Mordor. Man, look at that. That's crazy. Okay, so those are the 2, and now we move on to Gollum. So again, Gollum can't attack or capture or do anything, but we need to get Gollum to move closer to Frodo. I think what we're going to do right now is move Frodo now. Again, he would have to search, but there's no one there, so we don't have to worry about that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and we're going to spend this one into the discard pile for that. So that's 1, 2, 3 actions. And now as a 4th, we could move Frodo and Sam as a travel action. But I don't want to. I actually want him to do his Slinker action. Once per turn, I can take any stealth card from the player discard pile. So I'm going to take that back into my hand because that'll be nice and useful. And so we're going to draw 2 cards. We're going to come up on the shadow card in a little bit. So here's a Harad Waith Gold Ring and then a Harad Waith Friendship. Useful. Okay, cool. Then we're going to draw 2 of these. First one's going to be a bottom action. We're going to add 1 to Near Harad. So we're going to add that. And we're going to move 2 Nazgul closer to Frodo. Select from those closest to him outside his region. So we're going to move 1 of these here, and then the next one's going to go, we get to choose. So these are, they're all down here. So let's see, this would be 1, 2 away. This would be 1, 2, 3 away. So we're going to move the second one into Rohan. And the reason why we also want to do that is because she can also take care of him when we move it. So we want that to happen. Although we need some shadow troops to be in here when they do that. So that was 1. And then 2 is going to be a movement from Moria to Rivendell. So this actually might be good for Erebor. So we're following the green line. So we're going Rivendell, green, 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 way up there. And that is that. Okay, so those are the 2 cards. And now we're moving on to Eowyn's action. So I really wish she could battle there. The eye is still down here, so we're not really worried. So I think we're going to muster twice. Move, muster once. And again, she doesn't need to spend any of those tokens. Why am I doing that? Well, actually, let's have done the move, one of the musters here instead, because I only need 2 of these guys to bring back with me, so we're okay there. So those are the 4 actions. Actually, I think what we have to do, just for preparation's sake, is I think I need to prepare this card. So I think instead of doing that last muster, we're going to prepare this Rohan card, since we're in a haven in Rohan, and we're going to gain one of those. And so that's the 4 actions. Now, as another action, we are going to prepare with Frodo and Sam this one, because again, when Frodo and Sam prepare, they not only get this if it's named on the card, so they're going to get a stealth, but they're also going to get a friendship token. Yay, friendship! So I've got quite a lot of tokens here. I'll show you I'll show you right now. So I've got all of these tokens already. So we're on our way to being able to do quite a bit of stuff. All right, that was the 4 actions. Now we're going to draw. First one, a stealth from Mordor, and a skies darken. So there it is. Okay, first things first, we move the threat token. Then, if the eye is in Frodo's region, lose 2 hope. Otherwise, move it there. So we're moving this to here. And just like that, it has become a very dangerous section. Then we're going to add 3 troops to southern Mirkwood. Oh, wow, that happens to be where Legolas is, which is good. Then we are going to shuffle the discard pile, which is this discard pile. So one of the things during setup is these 2 cards came out or were discarded, and these, when they come up, which they will, I'll go over. But one's the Drums of War, and one is the Wheels of Saruman. So we have to be cautious, because those, when they come out once, it's not a big deal. If they come out a lot, like you just happen to get unlucky with your Skies Darkens stuff, then yeah, you're gonna have a rough time. These cards are shuffled, and we drew our 2 cards. So now we're moving on to drawing our shadow card. So the first one's going to be a march from Nirn to Minas Tirith following yellow. So Minas Tirith, yellow, yellow, yellow. So that's going to move in. Yellow, yellow, yellow. That's going to move in, and then nothing there. So again, I'm glad I left these troops here, because these guys might get here before I can really do anything. Although, had I moved them here, there would be a fight, and maybe we would have gotten rid of them. Who knows? Okay. The second one will be a bottom action card, and it'll be 1 in Isengard, and then we're going to deploy 3 from Mordor to the Eye. But since there is no Nazgul there, then we take them from the largest groups first. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3. Rivendell is a lost cause at this point, so we need to move on. So we're still only drawing 2 shadow cards because our threat is only at 2, so we're still good. All right, so now we're back to Legolas. I don't have any cards here that I can, all of the stuff that I have as far as regions is way down here in the bottom in the nether region, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. What I'm going to do, though, is I think I'm going to use some of this stuff. So action 1 is going to be taking a stealth token. Action 2 is going to be getting rid of a card, a stealth card, to get rid of one of these. But sorry, that's not even an action. It's at any time. Spend 1 to remove 1. So we're removing 1. We're going to do this again. Then, just for the sake of doing it, I'm going to do it 2 more times, because I have to do this as a thing at some point. So I am 5 troops out of the 6 for that very particular objective, and we've cleared this area out. So I think we're okay with that. Now, the only action I did was gaining that stealth token. So now we can actually figure out what else to do. What I want to do is I want to move into Lorien. So 2, 3, and then I'm going to muster with this card to gain another green person, so we can kind of start making our way into North Ithilien. Okay, that was that action. Now we need to get this. We need to get them out of here. So you know what I just realized? We should have lost one hope when Gollum went into there, because there's a troop there and all three are present. Ugh, that was dumb. Okay, that's okay. You live and you learn. The game is hard on purpose. So, well, I guess I don't want that guy to follow me. So let's figure out what we want to do. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to spend a stealth token and we're going to move into there. I would have to spend a stealth to do that, and then another one to search, but there's no Nazgul, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay. That was the one action there. We're now going to draw 2 cards. The first one is Rudor. Oh, that would have been nice. And then the second one will be, Ithilien. Okay, so I definitely have enough swords to make Minas Morgul a haven. So we want to start thinking about that. We're now going to draw 2 cards. The first one's going to be a banner. So we're going to add 1 to Near Harad and then move 2 Nazgul closer to Frodo. So that's going to be 1 in Near Harad. And then we're going to move them closer. So we're just going to move these 2 into there. I don't necessarily want to move this guy yet. I want to see if these guys come in, because then she could try and take care of him. So that's my goal with that. And then the second card will be a march from Dol Guldur to Helm's Deep, following the teal or green line. So that's here. So green, 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 nothing. Look at that. Look at that. Sometimes that works out. All right, we're now moving on. We are moving on to Faramir. So Faramir needs to bring these guys and these guys over to here, but this is going to be a battle already. So we actually need more people. So let's see here. He also gets that extra action if we spend a stealth. Well, guess what? I have no stealth because I messed up. Now, one thing I can actually do is he has the action once per turn, draw a ring card from the discard pile. So I'm going to do that as 1 action. And then 2 action, I'm going to prepare that because I'm in Rohan for another ring. So that's 2 actions. 3rd action, we have no friendship. Well, we do have one. We do have 1 friendship, so we could do that. So maybe we do that, and then I can start traveling back, and then potentially muster here. But we could also start going up and maybe go that way. The problem is there's going to be a fight here, and I have to clear these guys out sooner rather than later. So I think we're going to take these guys and go 1, 2. That's what we're going to do. Okay, that's the 4 actions for them. And now we need to figure out what to do for this little situation ship. Well, we need to move them. So we're going to go from here. We could move into here without spending it, because being with Gollum allows us to skip out on a, not skip out, but roll 3 less search die. So if we move, it'd only be 2. I think that's maybe what we do. Okay. We're going to do that because I think staying in this region for now is okay, because then we could easily go out into here. I don't know if I necessarily want to go up and go around, although it's going to be a while before I do this. So let's do that, because then I can spend another turn in here if things like more Nazgul move in and then go on. Okay. First card is a ring card. Second card is a stealth card. All right. Now we're going to draw a shadow card. So the first one's going to be the Drums of War. Da, 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 da. Add 1 shadow troop to every shadow stronghold in Mordor. We're running out of these red troops. This is going to be a problem. So that goes there, that goes there, and that goes there. That just got much harder. Okay. Well, it got somewhat harder. And then for the second card, it will be, oh gosh, the Wheels of Saruman. So we have to pick one. Either remove any 2 friendly troops from the board, doubt, a single player must discard a total of 2 player cards, or lose 1 hope. We are going to lose 2. We're actually going to lose 1 from over here and 1 from over here. It's always kind of the first thing I do whenever I get that, because I generally don't use those guys. So we're okay. Although, yeah, I want to leave that. Okay, so that's the 2 cards, and now we move on to Gollum taking his turn. On his turn, action number 1 is going to be him taking. Let me see. Let me double check that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I am going to take a card of a stealth card for his ability, and let's see if I can find one that is. Nope. So what's the nearest thing? Nothing. So I'm just going to take one. I'm going to just take Mordor. So this is the card I'm taking in my hand for his ability. I want to prepare, but I have to be in a region. So we could go back. Gollum doesn't need to be in a region with a haven. So, I just realized I don't think I could have prepared when I did this. So I actually have to kind of retcon something. He would have needed to go. He would have needed to use his action to get that card, take an action to move, and then would have had to come back and then move 1 more. So that would have been 1 to get the card, 2 to move, 3 to prepare, 4 to come back to here. So he's right there still. I just realized I keep forgetting about that. We don't want to move down here because that would make us lose a hope. What I think we want to do then is, we could just start moving around, but let's do it. Let's just have Gollum and Frodo just move around, and maybe we can end up in Dale to do this. We got to figure out something because I'm going to end up losing out on some of these cards here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 to prepare. Again, Gollum doesn't need to be there to prepare, so we're going to do that. And that's going to give me a 3rd ring. Very useful. So the problem is I have 6 cards, and I'm going to draw 2 right now. So I need to figure out what to do with Frodo and Sam. I think we're going to move into Dale because I have this 1 Dale stealth card that I could potentially do. So I think that's what we're going to do. And that's it. So now we're going to draw. So there's Ened Waith and Athelion. So we got to get rid of something. I'm actually going to get rid of I'm going to get rid of this Ened Waith swords. I usually don't get rid of swords. I usually have a hard time getting them. But in this situation, I will. And then we're going to draw our 2 shadow cards. So the first one's going to be adding 1 to Dunlin and then deploying 3 from Nazgul to the Eye. So we add 1 to Dunlin. And then the Eye is over here. So we go from the largest group. So it's going to be here. And now the largest group is tied. So we're actually going to move 1 here and then 1 here. So that's all 3 of them. Okay. So that was 1. And then the second one will be a march from Nirn to Erebor following that blue-ish line. So we're going Erebor, blue, 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 and that's it. Okay. Those are the 2 cards. And now we move on to Eowyn. And I'm actually worried about how many of these are left over. There's not a lot. So I think what we're going to do is muster twice. We'll muster once. And then we're going to go a second action, and then a third action, and then a fourth action will be to roll. And I am going to roll 2 dice to attack. Oh my gosh, look at that. Perfect dice roll. We are going to remove one of theirs. Oh, why is it focusing? We're going to remove one of theirs, and we're going to remove this Nazgul from the game. Oh, that couldn't have gone better. Again, you only lose the Nazgul because of her ability. So that's it. And we don't lose the 2 troops with her. So that was awesome. So that was the 4 actions. So now we're going to do 1 action. And I think we need to actually move to Dale again. And the reason, yeah, we're going to do this. We're just going to move them. And that's because eventually I'm going to want to do this, and I have to be in a region, and I don't want Gollum to also be there because of the losing the thingamabop. The thingamabop. All right. We're going to draw 2 cards. Man, I have way too many cards right now. So we're going to get a Dale. Oh, that'll be nice, actually. And then we're going to get a Eriador. All right, what do we want to get rid of? I think what we want to get rid of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, man. We want to keep the 2 Dale cards because of Gollum and Frodo. So I think we can get rid of this because Gollum has that one ability that lets me get rid of stuff. And then I think we're going to get rid of this one as well. I need to start preparing or using some of this stuff. This is becoming problematic. And then we're going to draw our 2 cards. So first we're going to have an additional troop and shift the eye to Frodo's region. It is not already there, so we're okay there. So we're adding that to Nir Harad. We're shifting that to Dale. Second action, this is where it can become a problem. Nir Harad. Deploy 3 Nazgul from Mordor to the eye, and then that's it. So we're going to add another one down here to the bottom of the board. And now we're going to deploy 3, going from, see, oof. Just like that. We're all safe. Now we're not. That's okay. We can start heading out this way. That's fine. Okay. Now we need to, I kind of wanted to. Okay. We're going to have to fight. All right. So those are 2 cards. Now we're moving back to Legolas. So Legolas needs 1 more action. Or not action, but needs to remove 1 more troop. So let's have him go. Well, let's have him action 1 gain a stealth token from the supply. Action 2 is going to be to move with these guys. And then as a free action, he's going to spend that stealth token to remove 1 of these. And just like that, we're going to finish this action. So we get to place these. Return the shadow troops on this card of display. Gain 1 hope. We should be at 7, but I made that mistake earlier. That's okay. I can only retcon so many things. So we're going to flip that over. So we only have 2 more left. So we're making our way. We're making our way down. So that was only 1, 2 actions. Let's move 3. And then, see, I really want to be able to prepare with Frodo and Sam to get 2 of these, but I think we're not going to. I think we're going to go ahead and I'm going to use this to muster. What am I looking for? I'm going to muster a brown troop here. And that's the 4 actions. So it's stealth token, move, muster. So now we're going to take our 1 action with them. And I think we're going to make that, we're going to do this. We're going to use Dale. And because we're going to prepare that, that's going to give us a friendship token and a stealth token because we do need them. And that's that. Okay. We're going to draw 2 cards. First one is Misty Mountain's Sword. And next one is a Friendship Mirkwood. Ooh, that'll be nice. I could move into there. Prepare, potentially. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. And now we're going to draw our 2. We're going to add 1 to Moria and then shift the eye to Frodo's region. So this is where it gets a problem. So I wish I had fought, but I wasn't thinking about it. And then so we're going to add 1 to Moria. And then we're going to roll a search. Now, because Gollum is not there, like the dumb I am, I have to roll 3 of these search. Now, I am in a haven, so I am kind of hoping I have a 50-50 chance of, actually, I have a 2/3 chance of getting good stuff. So, oh, this literally panned out perfectly. So this is what I got. So I got 2 blanks and this, which is that the Nazgul, I think I have to bring it really close to the camera. There we go. The Nazgul is going to move back to Mordor. Okay, so that was card number 1. Card number 2 will be a march from Moria to Rivendell along the Green Line. So we have Moria, we have Rivendell. So we're going to go back, back, back. These guys are going to go there. This guy's going to go there, and that's it. And those are the 2 cards. And then we move on to Faramir. Let's go 1, 2, friendship token to get another blue. That's 3. You know what I'm going to do? Just because I'm going to spend this to do another muster. Part of the reason why is because not only are we going to have to probably fight here, but we're also going to have to fight over here. So I'm going to need to get as many people as possible. Okay. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. We have to move this guy out now. So we're going to move into here. And then we'll have Gollum meet up like there or something. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Then we're going to draw 2 cards. We should be getting a Skies Darken card pretty soon. Ooh, what's this? The red arrow. Move up to 3 friendly troops in the same haven to 1 different haven. Then optionally roll a battle there. That might be nice. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can also use this at any time. So we might want to think about that. And then there's the Skies Darken. So we're going to increase this threat rate. We are then going to move the eye to Frodo's region. So luckily I did move, so that moves there. And then we're going to add 3 of these bad boys to Fangorn Forest, which is right over, I just saw it. Why can't I see it? There it is. It's right here. And then we're going to reshuffle this. Now we're going to draw 3 of these shadow cards. Oh, never wanted to cry so badly in my life. This game is both going well and not well at the same time. I think I'm approaching the objectives well, but I am very much lackadaisical on fighting. So I need to start figuring that out. Draw 3. The first one is 1 in Moria, and then we're going to shift the eye to Frodo's region and roll a search. Luckily, it is there, but there's nothing to search for. So we're going to add 1 to Moria. Second card will be 1 to Nirn, and then we're going to move 2 Nazgul closer to Frodo. 1 to Nirn, and we move closest first. So we're going to move 1 there, and then we'll move another 1 into here. And the reason, again, is because I'm hoping that these shift into here so we can do some kind of fighting. Plus, I'm going to have Gollum meet up here, so that'll help reduce the number of searches. And then the third card will be another additional near Harad, and then we're going to move 2 Nazgul closer to Frodo. So it didn't actually matter that we picked those. So this one goes there, and this one moves there. Okay, so those are the 3. We're now going to move on to Gollum. Oh, Gollum, oh, Gollum, oh, Gollum, oh, Gollum. We're going to move 1, 2. I think I want... Okay. I would like to prepare something, or at least to use this event. But this event isn't the best. Move up to 3 friendly troops in the same haven to 1 different haven, and then optionally roll a battle there. The problem is there's no enemies in a haven. So, I mean, I guess I could shift these guys to there. That might not be a bad idea. I'll think about that. That was 1, 2. And then we're going to actually move Frodo and Sam. Oh, I guess I have to do my actions before or after. So let me finish with Gollum. We're going to go ahead and we are going to use this card, and we're going to move some troops. And I think we are going to move these 2 green troops into there. So that way these guys are ready to go. And then I could roll a battle, but alas, I shall not. And for a third action with Gollum, I'm going to search the deck for a hopeful stealth token, but maybe one that I could prepare. No. So maybe I don't take that. Maybe I just forfeit those actions. No. Was there a green card in Dale? There was. Okay. I'm just going to go back 1. So I did 1. Action 2 is going to be to take this Dale card. Action 3 is going to prepare that card in Dale, since Gollum can do that without being in a haven. 4, and then we're going to move this guy here. We would move and do a search, and we will, but he does 3 less dice, and there's only 3, so we're okay there. We do need to get out of here sooner rather than later, though. Okay. That was my 4+1. I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. First one, Misty Mountains. That's my 7th card, and then Dale. Again, I think I'm going to get rid of... I don't think I'm going to get rid of Dale, but I'm going to get rid of this Mordor Swords one. And then we're going to draw our shadow cards. First one is going to be the Wheels of Saruman. I think I want to get rid of 2 troops. And the first one I'm going to get rid of is here. And then actually we'll do this one that was there in Peligir. And then we'll get rid of this one right here. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Then we're going to flip another one, and it's going to be a march from Isengard to Rivendell following green. So green, green, green. So this is 100% going to be a problem. But these guys did finally move into there. So let's see if we can figure that out. We could also do a capture action here, but I'm more worried about it being there. Okay. Then, what was that, 2? Yeah, that was 2. Third card, we'll be adding 1 to Nir Harad and shifting the eye to Frodo, and then doing a search. We're going to just add 1, but we don't need to search because he's next to Gollum. So that's that. All right. We're now moving on to Eowyn. Does she do... I kind of wish I hadn't gotten rid of so many of these sword cards, because I could do a capture action and gain 2 hope. Except we're going to do a capture action over here anyways. So I don't know. Let's just move 1. 2 will be to muster. 3 will be to roll. Not the best. So there's no Nazgul, which would have been nice. But we get rid of 2 of theirs and 1 of ours. So that clears them out. Gives us some people back. And then that was 1, 2 muster, 3 attack. And I think we need to have her start heading out this way. Because I'm a little worried about Rivendell at this point. She's going to muster 1 more time. And then I think we're going to start heading out that way. Man, this is a problem. I've never had so many cards before that I couldn't do anything with. I really need to spend these more often. All right, that's her 4 actions. And now what we're going to do is shift over. That's what we're going to do. And that's it. And then we're going to draw our 2 cards. It's another gold ring and a Mordor friendship. I'm going to keep the friendship, and I'm going to get rid of the Harrod Waith ring, believe it or not. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, okay. We'll get rid of a Mordor stealth. We'll get rid of that one. Okay. Then we're going to draw our shadow cards. First one's first is going to be adding 1 to Nir Harad and then deploying 3 Nazgul from Mordor to the Eye. And Nir Harad is rough right now. And then let's actually move this one. Then, second one will be another one adding to Dol Guldur. And, Dol Guldur, and then deploying 3 again from Mordor to the Eye. So we're just going to move 1 to there, and then 1 there. Mirkwood is under attack. And then the last one will be a march, from Moria to Rivendell following Grain. So there, 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 and there. Yeah, that's going to be... Ooh, well, we're just going to have to probably deal with it. And then we're going to spend... That's it. That's the 3 actions. And then we're going to move on to Legolas's turn. All right. I think first action, gain a stealth token from the supply. Second action, does he have anything where he can maybe move up to Lorien? So Misty Mountains and Misty Mountains. So instead of gaining that stealth token, I'm going to backtrack, and I'm actually going to go 1, 2, prepare. So we're going to get a sword and another ring. And then for my 4th, I don't have a Dale. I do have a Dale. We will prepare with Frodo. Oh no, I'm not in a... Okay, we're not going to worry about that then. Actually, we will do that. And that's it. Okay, so that's his +1. We're going to draw 2. Oh, here we go. You may remove up to 2 from any one location. That's really nice for Minas Morgul. And then another ring. All right. Then we're going to draw 3. First one's going to be a march from Dunlin to Helm's Deep following orange. So orange, orange, orange. And then there's going to be a fight here. So we're going to roll this, and it's going to be a 1 and a 1. So they just basically wipe themselves out. Which is good for us because we need more of those troops in the thing. Next one's going to be another... it's going to be a Drums of War. We're going to add 1 shadow troop to each stronghold in Mordor. And then the last one's going to be from Nirn to Minas Tirith following yellow. So yellow, 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 yellow. Okay, those are the 3. And now we're moving on to Faramir. So there's this guy here. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go all in, and that's going to let us do a bonus travel action, or a bonus attack. Sorry. So we're going to roll. We're just going to roll 1 dice, actually, because you can roll up to. So I'm going to roll 1. And I can also spend a stealth to make that turn into something I want. And it happens to be what I want anyways, so we're good. So we get rid of that. And then second action will be to move into here. And we will do 2. Oof. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to spend... Yeah, we're going to spend 1... sorry, it's not like focusing. We're going to spend 1, and we're going to change that to that. So we're spending a stealth. So we're going to lose... They're going to lose 2, and we're going to lose 1. So we're going to go these two. This is why I brought an extra blue, or extra blue. Then that was 1, and then that was a bonus attack. Then another bonus attack, so it's just 2. And then third will be to actually finish doing this. Which, by the way, the I should have shifted to this battle. I think I kind of forgot to do that a few times. But we're going to shift it to Ithilien anyways, and then move every Shadow Troop in Mordor to Udon. Okay, so we're also going to move all of the Shadow Troops in Mordor to Udon. So that means all of these are going to come over to here. This guy's going to come into here. This guy's going to come over to here, and that's it. So that actually helps us out. And so in this game, you have to kind of sometimes figure out the correct order to do things, especially the objectives, because they help you out. So now we can actually get in there pretty easily and capture that. That's a little scary. But we still have one more action left with him because we went 1, and then bonus action of attack, and then 2, bonus action of attack, and then 3 to actually do the objective, and then 4, we're going to just move back down here. So if these do happen to go this way, then we won't get decimated right away because we need a couple people here. We're not going to take everyone here, I don't think, when we go from here into here. But we need to start figuring some things out over there. So I think just to kind of go back on this a little bit, there were some battles, like I think this eye should have been here. I don't think it really makes a difference. I think it actually made things a little bit harder with navigating Frodo and Sam. Because otherwise, maybe some of the Nazgul would be over here rather than all into there. So I don't think this made too much of a difference, but we'll keep playing with that. So those were the 4 actions. And then we're going to start moving down this way with Frodo because in the next turn, we're going to have Gollum. And so we need to start moving. So we're going to have him move into there, like so. And then we're going to leave it, I think, at that. Let me just move this out of the way a bit. So let's see here. That was 1. And now I'm also going to play this card, which is Orc Infighting. You may remove up to 2 from any one location. I'm actually going to do it from here just to kind of at least give us some help there just in case it does end up going there. So using that, I thought about doing a preparation with Frodo and Sam instead, but we really need to start moving them along. So I have 6 cards again, so we can get rid of some of the rings. So here's card number 1, and then card number 2 will be a Skies Darken. I knew it. I knew it. So we do that. This is going to move to Frodo and Sam's region. Then we're going to add 3 to Tharbad. Oof. And then we're going to shuffle the shadow deck. So, number 1, it's going to be a movement from Nirn to Minas Tirith using yellow. So there might be some fighting here. So we're going from Minas Tirith to yellow. So these guys all come into here. And then that's it. And then the next one will be another banner, but it's the Drums of War. So we're going to add 1 person to each of these spaces. Oof. That's unfortunate. We were so close. I mean, we can still do well here, but it's going to cost us at least 2 actions in there, 3 to get rid of this, and then a 4th to actually capture it if we use Faramir. And then the 3rd card will be a banner. We're adding 1 to Isengard. We need to be really, really careful here because we only have 2 of these left. And then we're going to deploy 3 Nazgul from Mordor to the Eye. We're taking it from the large, so it's 1, a 2, a 3. And those are the 3 cards. And now we're moving on to Gollum's turn. Well, we got to get out of there. So luckily, we can move 1. We don't need to do any rolls because there's no Nazgul. Now, if I move 3, I would have to do a roll. Okay, see, now it's a problem. Interesting. Okay, well, we will just move into here by spending a thing. So this will be the 2nd action. I I'm very tempted to do a prepare just to get rid of this card. Since I have Rovanian. I need to move him. So it's 1, 2, I can go 3 and 4. I think that's what we're gonna do. So when I moved here, I would have had to do a search, but when Golem is there, you roll 3 fewer dice, and so we would have rolled 2, and so we don't have to roll. And so now we're gonna roll, but we're gonna get rid of a stealth. 1, 2, 3. We spend the stealth. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then 4 to go there. So we spent the stealth here. Oh, we're actually gonna leave. Okay, hang on. I just remembered. That's a hard rule to remember. If I move both of them there, then we lose another hope. We really can't. We really shouldn't try not to lose any hope. So I think that was 1, 2. I think what we'll do is we will do a prepare to gain one of those. And then we'll move 4 into here and spend that stealth token. And then for Frodo and Sam's extra action, we'll move them into there. And then we'll just leave Gollum there, I think. Or maybe move him separately. But that's what we're going to do for that. And then we're going to draw 2 cards. So I have 6 again. So we have Enaid Waith. Ooh, and an event, Elrond's Foresight. Current player reveals up to 4 cards from the top of the player deck, and they may optionally add one of them to their hand. Return unselected cards to the top of the player deck in any order. We're actually going to use this right now because we can play it at any time, not as an action. And we're going to look at the top 4. And we can put these back in any order. So luckily, we know the next 2 turns will not have any skies darken. So just for the sake of it, we're going to do this. None of these I can really do anything about anyways. Okay. Then we need to draw our 3 cards. All right, so first one's first. We're going to add... we might lose here. We might lose here. Okay, well, I already started taking the turn. Unfortunate. We're going to add 1 to Nirn. Move 2 Nazgul closer to Frodo. So 1, 2. This is a march. So if the next 2 are march, or if the next 1 is a march, I think we'll be okay. Dol Guldur to Helm's Deep, following green. So these guys are going to move. And then this guy is going to move. Oops. I think these guys were there, right? And then the last, we'll be adding 1 more to Nir Harad. And then we're going to shift the eye to Frodo's region, which is going to come back here. Okay, we definitely need to figure out how to take care of some of these enemies. Okay. So here's Eowyn. We could move 1, 2, and do some attacking there. Maybe we do that, or we could go and start heading this way. I don't think we're going to have another turn with Eowyn, so that's why I'm saying that we might want to go up there. So either I go 1, 2, and attack something here, or we go 1, 2, and attack something there. Don't think it really matters. I think I want to do at least 2 attacks. So I think what we will do, I think we're going to forget that, and I think we're going to go and take Eowyn and leave 1 at least, just in case Isengard comes in there. Actually, it won't matter, because... yeah, we'll leave 1 just in case. Then 2, and then we're going to attack with all 3 dice, just to try and get rid of some of these. Oh, this was really bad. Okay, so Oh my gosh. That was unfortunate. Luckily, I think everything pretty much was right here. Okay. Cleaned up. Oof, that was scary. So let me show you guys what I got. This is what I had gotten. So I'm going to lose one, and then nothing else happens. We're going to do another attack. Ooh, you know what? I think just for the sake of it, we're going to go ahead and spend this card to get rid of one of their people. And then we're going to spend one ring to make a reroll of one of the dice. And I'm actually going to do the reroll of this one to see if I can try and not lose that person. And so I still lose that person, but they're going to lose, if I can get that to focus in, they're going to lose a person as well. So that ended up working out a little bit better. Also got rid of some cards in my hand. And then I kind of want to do one more attack, and we're going to roll 2 dice. Because I went 1, 2, oops, my gosh, flicking all over the place. 1, 2, attack, and then we're going to roll 2 dice. And this is what we got. So we removed 2 of theirs and 1 of ours. So 1 of ours. The reason why I'm doing that is because I really need to make sure on the next turn at least we don't run out of people, because that can be a huge issue. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to do our one action. So we're actually going to move. Oh, and this should go there. I got to remember that. We're going to move in with all of this. When we do that, I'm not going to spend any stealth tokens because I need to spend one. With Faramir, I can spend 1 less. So we're going to actually do that here. So we're going to spend it from our hand. So here it is. And we're going to move everything into here. Now, what we're then going to do is we are going to roll one of these black dice for that. And we are going to lose 1 hope, unfortunately. Actually, maybe we re-roll that. Let's see, I've got 1, 2. I have enough, and so I think we will. We will do a singular re-roll. Perfect. We got a blank face. So no hope lost. I still have enough for 5 rings. And so I think we are good there. We're going to draw our 2 cards. We know, yep, one of them is a rings. And then one of them is going to be a sword. So we're at 5 cards. And then we got to draw 3 cards. We have exactly 3 people. So as long as, I mean, we're okay still. So we are going to add 1 to Moria. Oh, shift the Eye of Mordor to Frodo's region. Okay, that's going to be a problem, probably. We still need to get to Mount Doom. So I think we're okay, because if we travel with Faramir, yeah, let's see. We'll figure that out in a second. Let's finish this. Then we're going to march from near Harad to Helm's Deep following Orange. So here's Helm's Deep. We're going to go orange, 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 orange. So all of these are going to go into here. Okay. Still can't see, it's off to the side here. If I can show you guys, it's down here. Okay. That was 2. And then we're going to add 1 more to Dunland. And then we're going to deploy 3 Nazgul from Mordor to the Eye. Ah, see, this is the one I was hoping was not going to happen. So we have to pick. So there's going to be 1. We're going to go 2. And then we'll just do 3 from here. Actually, we'll do it from here, because when I move 2, I think it might make a difference. See, this is this right here with all of the Nazgul is going to be the issue. So if you can't quite get into there fast enough, we can start having some scary things happen. Okay, we're now moving on to Legolas's turn. Maybe we can get rid of some of these tokens here. So the first thing we're going to do is one action. We're going to use it to get a stealth token because we're going to need it. well. I need at least one stealth token. So what we're going to do is spend one stealth token to get rid of this guy with his sure shot. That was not an action. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's get rid of this card. Let's muster a green here. And then we'll go 1, 2. So first action was to gain that the stealth. Then not an action, we spent the stealth, and then we mustered. So that's 2, 3, 4. Okay, next action we are going to move. Ooh. Oh, that's what we're going to do. We're going to attack here with Frodo and Sam, and we're going to roll all 3 dice because we need to make sure we get rid of this. So we're going to roll all 3 dice, and the eye's already there. So, oh gosh, I have not had this bad of a roll ever in this game. So we get rid of 6 people. But we're going to need to, I'm going to get rid of at least one of these to re-roll one of them. And at the very least, we have that. So we're going to get rid of that 1. Then we're going to get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Man, that was pretty bad. That was really bad. All of that is in the goal for winning on this very next turn. Okay, so that was that. We're going to draw 2. We know that one of them is a friend and one of them is another friend. We knew it wasn't a Skies Darken. And then we're going to add another one to Near Harad. And then deploy 3 from Mordor to the Eye. Okay, so we're going to go largest group, and then this. Yeah, this is going to be a problem. Then next one is going to be another addition. It's going to be the Wheels of Saruman. We are going to get rid of 2 people. We're actually going to get rid of these 2 people down here. Quick decision. And then the last card will be a March from Moria to Rivendell. And so this is what I was worried about. So Moria to Rivendell, Farling Green. So we're going to fight there. But that's going to go, that's going to go, that's going to go, and then that's going to go. And there is going to be a fight here. Let's see what happens. Let's hope for the best. It was the best, so they die. Okay, we're just barely making it here. So since they did this, they are not going to shift the Eye of Sauron. And then that was the 3 cards. So now we're going to move on to Faramir. So I think we're going to see if we can win. But there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dice. We're going to end up rolling 6 of these. I think we'll be okay even if we do that. So the first thing we have to do is actually spend 3 of these to finish our objective, which was infiltrate Minas Morgul. And we are in Minas Morgul. There are no people there. So you may do the capture action and spend 3. Complete if Minas Morgul is a haven. Current player may gain 2 stealth tokens. Don't mind if I do. Look at the top 2 shadow cards, and I may either remove 1 or both from the game. Return kept cards, if any, to the top in any order. So we are going to do this capture action, which now gives us 2 hope. And so that's what I mean by even rolling 6 won't be a big problem. So that was one action to do that. We do get to look at these top 2 cards, and we know that these are banner cards, so it might not be too bad. One's Near Harad, the other one's Umbar to Grey Heavens. Either one, not a big deal. So we're actually going to keep both of these. Then we're going to go 2 as an action. Again, when Faramir travels across a special path, I spend 1 fewer symbol, so that was free. That was 2 actions. And then 3 actions, spending 1 of these to do that. And you know what? I just realized I do have to spend the other 2 stealth tokens to stop a search from there and stop a search there. So luckily, I have these 2 stealth tokens to be able to do that. So I promise I'm not cheating. Then we're going to finish Faramir's turn, and then we're going to spend 1 card and 4 rings. 4 rings. And we're going to do a search. There are no shadow troops there, so we don't need to worry about that. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have no things to be able to. I have nothing to be able to. I'm going to put this here just for fun to re-roll, but it's okay because we have 8 hope, and you would add any with the loss of hope. So since I'm at 8, I don't need to lose any. I don't need to gain any more dice. The max is 7 anyways, but. So we lose 2 hope. And that's game. That is game. And that is how you win Fate of the Fellowship. So I will say, I think I definitely missed moving this a few times. I don't think in the end it really made a difference. It might have made things a little bit harder to navigate way up here, and then it just kind of didn't diffuse the Nazgul anywhere. Other than that, I think that's it. So the game is definitely winnable. I've heard a few people say how hard it is. It's definitely hard. I'm not going to uh, disregard anyone who thinks this game is difficult. It is. I have tried to play this on like heroic difficulty, and I think you get a whole extra objective. And that alone makes things, doing 4 objectives alone is already pretty difficult. So I will say that. The game change is depending on what you get. I happen to get a lot of shadow cards that added these shadow troops versus in other games I have a lot of movement. Luckily I was able to defend here, and so we didn't lose any hope. And that's the game. So if you liked what you saw, then please leave a like and subscribe so that way I can do more of these. I really like this game. I'll be doing a review of it shortly, so you'll get to see maybe how much I do like it. But until next time, thanks for watching.